I'm Jeff Williams, and I'm a former chairman of the Chamber of Commerce of the Greater Arlington area. And then I'm also the president and CEO of Graham Associates Civil Engineering and Planning. And then I also am the former mayor of Arlington. I was chair of the chamber before I became mayor, and what a privilege it was. And my goodness, it was an inspiring experience. Well, '09 was very exciting because we had landed the Cowboys. They were coming to Arlington, and of course we opened Cowboys Stadium, and my firm got to be the civil engineer for that. But it was very exciting to be the chairman of the chamber there during that time, because we were opening Cowboys Stadium. You know, the number one brand in sports was coming to Arlington, and so many people had worked to make that happen. Then we also, though, had some pressure on us because we were trying to get done with the design and construction of Interstate 33 bridges, because people needed to be able to get in and out of the stadium, so it was a lot of pressure. But through all that exciting times, there was also a lot of angst, because we were in the midst of a major recession. And of course, people were looking to the chamber for leadership, and we needed to provide it. And certainly it was a really great time when you saw people step up to help each other. All of us were in trouble. Almost every business was having trouble. But yet we networked, we helped each other, we looked for ways that we could help each other's businesses. And then we also encouraged each other because we were able to share our stories together, and then also to pick each other up when we had those tough times during that, but also got to share the small wins that we had in '09, and then 2010 it got better and we came out of it, and then Arlington was a stronger place because of what the Greater Arlington Chamber did. Well, you may recall that in 2005, the whole city was excited. I think that we had landed the Cowboys Stadium, but however, we had a step to go forward on, and that was the sales tax election. And my goodness, the chamber stepped up to be able to get the information out about why do we want to spend money to bring the stadium here. And of course, it was all about OPM, other people's money. And of course, we had the opportunity for us to invest some money, but then in turn, we would get a major return by people coming here and attending those games and taking tours and being able to go to other events besides football that would take place in this incredible facility. And the chamber brought people together to help and to work and help make sure that everyone got that message. And they did. And we were successful, in that sales tax election, so that we could move forward and add another building block to our community. And of course, that led us to become the sports capital of the nation. And what an adage it was to our community. But it was very exciting that day when we heard, and I'll never forget, we so many of us were gathered at the Sheraton awaiting the news, and it worked. And another important time in which citizens came together and we showed that can-do spirit. It was interesting. After we had passed the sales tax election for the Cowboys, we then needed a lot of help on our roads and our parks and so forth. So in 2008, when I was vice chair of the chamber, I was asked to chair the city bond election. And it was scary because here came the recession in. And then yet our city needed so many improvements, and we had been very conservative. In other words, we only put in what we needed to for this bond program, but many thought we need to stop. We'll never get this passed. But again, Arlington citizens came together. The Arlington Chamber was key in making that happen, and we were able to successfully get that bond program passed. Well, guess what? A lot of those roads were roads that helped our entire city that we needed so badly to move our community ahead. And of course, you combine that with Cowboys Stadium, with other people's money, also with our money, we were able to leverage and improve a lot of our roadways. And it really inspired me as I came in as chair of the chamber, because I knew that I wasn't alone. There were other people that would help and be ready to add expertise, add work, add some hands and legs to be able to make things happen. And it was a great day. When I became mayor, it was amazing to see what people would do and had done, and I wanted to encourage them. And the first time I said that, it's a great day in Arlington, and I don't know exactly when it was. It just became very natural, and then I could see how it inspired people. So I started saying that a lot of times when I would start or end a meeting, or if we were doing a ribbon cutting and so forth. And yet after I'd done it a few months, I thought, well, people are probably getting tired of this. So I stopped trying to use it there, and yet people got upset. They go, oh, so my event was not a great day in Arlington, huh? And so it ended up being a tradition there for whenever something created happened, that we used it. And then in addition to that, I loved it when the people said it with me. And, we all said it's a great day in Arlington. I think it signifies accomplishment of our people. It signifies a milestone in our community. And so many times it was when the chamber was helping a business. They were opening the doors to a business, or we were doing a groundbreaking, and such exciting times there too. And there were so many days that we were able to say it's a great day in Arlington because of that can-do spirit of the people, and willing to collaborate and willing to follow that together we succeed. Kindness is such an important start to collaboration and teamwork, and we've seen it time and time again here in our community. And I love the fact that the Greater Arlington Chamber believes that and has shown it to where they want people to collaborate. Well, we felt very strongly, when I say we, my wife and I felt very strongly that we needed to promote kindness here in our community. We had become an international city there, and we used to be the 11th most diverse city in America, and today we're the 4th most diverse. International people from all over the world come here to go to school at the University of Texas at Arlington, but they fall in love with our city and they stay. And yet that's not natural necessarily to approach someone that doesn't look like you or may not even speak the language, and yet it's so necessary. And then it's amazing the number of friends that have been forged because of doing that. But when you work together on projects, it's amazing how barriers are broken down, walls are broken down. You're working together on a common purpose, something you have a passion for, and lifelong friendships are forged. And that has been a real strength of this chamber. It's been a strength of our community because we are willing to be kind and work with people. And that is the key to unity. And instead of fighting with each other, we are talking about how we can be productive and how we can get things done. We don't waste time there in fighting. We move ahead and we figure out ways to find common ground. It was essential there for be learning more about the city and also learning more about the people. My time at the chamber here, it was so valuable, and it did increase my passion here for this community because I saw what others had done and how they worked together. And we are all building on the past. We are actually adding building blocks so that our community can continue to get better. And we also want to be a city that multiple generations want to live in. And I look forward to the time in which our children really add those building blocks to it. Our great-grandchildren, on and on, generations ahead, they can do better and build Arlington into an even better place for people to live, work, and play. One memorable time was when the chamber stepped out of their comfort zone. And it dates all the way back there to the late 90s and early 2000s, in which this chamber stepped up and said, we have got to do something about Interstate 30. We have got to be able to increase the size of that so that we actually can build into our entertainment district. They had lost a lot of different attractions and businesses because we couldn't handle the traffic. And of course, one of the most famous one was the Cowboys Stadium, because we couldn't handle the traffic because of Interstate 30. So what did the chamber do? They went out and rallied the business community, and they said, we're going to raise some money and we're going to start a grassroots effort to be able to widen Interstate 30 and build the interchanges we need to be able to move people in and out of this. And it grabbed the attention of the city, it grabbed the attention of the state highway department, and ultimately there we were able to move forward on the design of Interstate 30, and the funding then came forward, and it led to us being able to handle the traffic when the Cowboys actually left Dallas County and said, hey, let's look at Arlington again. Well, the first time they came, we couldn't handle the traffic. The second time we could, and it was so exciting to see that they could come, and we had the project funded. But then we had to get it done, or at least enough of it done, for it to open in 2009, and then ultimately to finish all of it for the Super Bowl in 2011. But I think that really shows you what our chamber's made of, and the members, that they were willing to step out and try to make a statement. And then it's interesting, as usual, Arlington led the way, and so since Arlington did that, there's been a number of projects that have been very similar to Interstate 30, but that have happened with chambers or cities stepping forward and saying, we've got to do more. It was incredibly difficult in March of 2020 when we received the news of the pandemic. Again, businesses were in trouble. People were in trouble. We were in uncharted waters, and the chamber stepped up. We formed a 35-member council there, really, and you might say a task force, because it was made up of all different businesses here in our community to be able to try to address the many challenges that we had during the pandemic. And it was incredible input that was, given onto our city and state and federal governments there to help us. And then it also was, even more importantly, it helped us to together figure out ways that our businesses could succeed and survive there through that. And I love the fact that, the ideas of, hey, some of our sit-down restaurants could actually do takeout. And they pivoted, but also even the way we were able to get our workers in and out. Their ideas from the chamber, surfaced to help be able to get employees safely in and out of their workplace, and/or how to work remotely, because we had not done much of that. And here the chamber again stepped up, and specifically that 35-member task force that was helping here. And of course, Michael Jacobson was right there in the middle of all of that, and it was an amazing thing. It really was. And one of the great chamber memories that I would like to share is when we got word that the National Medal of Honor Museum was going to look at Arlington, Texas. And we had to, in 2 weeks, get ready for a reception to bring all of their selection committee in, and board members, and 3 Medal of Honor recipients. Well, 2 weeks is not very long. And it was amazing what this chamber did. We had to have the chamber. They were one of the best, and it was amazing how they stepped up, planned the event, and it couldn't be just any event. It had to be one that actually, convinced the Medal of Honor Selection Committee that they needed to give Arlington a chance, because they had 20 cities and we were not one of them, and they were trying to lower it down to 10, and we were trying to be one of those 10. So it was amazing how the leadership of the chamber came through and created an incredible event. And then right after that, we received word that yes, they would put Arlington, Texas in as one of the 10 cities that would be considered. And then over the next 6 months, they told us we're going to be coming into town every couple of weeks. We're going to be sending questionnaires in between. We'll have you address different things. And so you can imagine it wasn't just that, it was every day almost. The chamber was working in the middle of that and helping these events. And then, of course, the first person I called after I received the call that, hey, Mayor, can you meet with the Medal of Honor Selection Committee tomorrow? Well, you know, I said I could, but I called Michael Jacobson. I said, Michael, we need your help. And anyway, I said, gave him what we were doing. He was all in. I think we all spent that night. Of course, I did call Trey Overton too, and literally it was the beginning of one of the greatest journeys I've ever been on. And again, it took so many people here in Arlington and throughout the state here to be able to bring a national museum to Arlington, Texas. I mean, all the national museums are in D.C., and yet this one they didn't want to build in D.C. because it was going to take 20 years to get it done. So if they wanted to get it built, call on Arlington. But then again, at the press conference, there it was said by one of the Medal of Honor recipients is that we had a lot of great cities to consider. But the thing that separated Arlington and moved them into the number one spot was the fact that these people have an incredible spirit. The people of Arlington care, and we believe they can get it done. And we did. You know, it's open. It happened there, and of course it increased the depth of our community so much, but it took every one of the building blocks that is taken, throughout our city's history, because it took everything we had to be able to bring that facility there, because all of the great cities of America were trying to get it. And yet, too, it's very satisfying now because you will hear from the Medal of Honor board, and they say that we made the right decision. Arlington, Texas should be the home of the National Medal of Honor Museum, and we had that confirmed time and time again throughout the design, construction, and now opening. Wow, that's awesome. I am so humbled to be in this city, a city where people do care and people do value, and then also I'm looking forward to the future. With the Medal of Honor Museum and their mission, I think that this city is going to do nothing but soar, because we are the right city to help them carry their mission forward, and that mission is to inspire America to adopt character values. And of course, we talked about kindness and teamwork and collaboration. That's what the Medal of Honor recipients talk about. And they want to see those values of integrity, sacrifice, courage, commitment, citizenship, and patriotism to be adopted by Americans. And we know that that is really the key to success here in our community. Because when we have trouble, it's when the leaders are not united and we don't have the character values all united together. During my time as chairman, we were going through a major recession, and we really got back to the basics of how can we help each other in our business? How can we network? How can we support each other? And it was a phenomenal thing of how we were able to get through. Most of our businesses survived through that. And when it all started there in November of 2008, I don't think many of us thought that we could make it through. We didn't know because we had not seen that probably since 1987 when there was such a severe recession. And so consequently, we helped each other not to give up. And the chamber played such a role in that because they brought us together. In fact, it was perhaps a precursor to prepare us for the pandemic that hit later, in which we had to do the same thing there so that we didn't lose hope and that we knew we weren't alone and that we were getting help. Well, I think it's the chamber has continued to recognize the importance of relationships. they're creating opportunities here for relationships to occur. And that's one thing that hasn't changed. There's so many societal changes that have happened. Technology is changing. But however, we still need people. God made us to live in community, and we need each other. And then even the people who think they don't need people, even the ones who are introverted, when they come together and work together, we see them flourish. We see people really coming out and able to do more. And then we as individuals, there's no comparison what can happen when we are combined with others and making that happen. And so building these relationships is key for the success personally, professionally, and just to be able to make a difference in this world. I think it's something very important for us to realize, and the Chamber has been a leader in this. When we were smaller, a banker didn't necessarily want to see another bank come in. And certainly other restaurateurs didn't want to see another restaurant coming in. And I have seen time and time again where no, we do want more business to come in, because you know what happens? The pie gets bigger and we all are able to actually be more profitable. We're able to do better. And of course, I'll use Randy Ford as an example, because the hardest working man here, when there were only 3 restaurants in downtown Arlington and we were trying to bring more restaurants here, he said, "You guys are going to put me out of business." Well, that's not the case. What happened is more people came to downtown when we had more restaurants, and then Randy Ford continued to get better, and he actually challenged other restaurants to be better. And he's the one who opened the door to the idea of takeout for restaurants that had not had a drive-through or anything, that had to do it to survive during the pandemic. So the Chamber has always opened those doors for us to collaborate, and we're going to need it even more now, because we are at the beginning of a technology revolution like we have never seen, and we are going to be subject to more change than we've ever seen. And change there is not always welcome, but yet we all know that if you're not changing, you're moving backwards. If you're not growing, you're moving backwards. The key is for us to work together so that we can be successful. When I moved in here in the 80s, when Karen and I decided that, hey, Arlington is where we want to raise our kids, we came here because of people that we knew that lived here, and how much they loved each other, how much friends they had, how they were so successful, and it was contagious. And so when we were looking at which city we wanted to move to, we actually said, it's Arlington. I actually was offered a job in Dallas that I thought it was in. I said, no, if I'm going to live in Arlington, I want to work in Arlington, and ended up going to work for the company I have here now. And did I ever dream that we would be to the size that we are now and all of the things here? No. Did I think that the Cowboys should move to Arlington? Yes, I did. And in fact, I did think that we would grow more in sports. I thought we would grow more in attractions. But I think the thing that really surprised me is how we have moved also, and we have improved in depth. I mean, our university and our school district there, that they have continued to improve and bring people here. Even our public schools that get attacked so many times. I would challenge anybody, if you have a child that is gifted or with special needs, there's no better path than what they can have here in Arlington, Texas. And then I'm so proud of the University of Texas at Arlington, and I don't want to leave out Tarrant County Community College, because I've seen it as both a businessman and as mayor. All of these educational entities are making us different. They are preparing people for the workplace. They're preparing people to be able to make a difference in their community. And I love the fact that the Rangers actually put that endowment in for the Richard Green Scholars there. That's very fresh on my mind. And it's amazing what Richard and Sylvia are doing with the best of the best here in Arlington, and how they are going out and making a difference. That's what we're about. And of course we also want them to move back. That's one of the reasons we did the esports, is that we wanted to attract young talent and keep young talent. So I am so excited about what we can do when we work together, and this chamber has opened the door so many times for us to step through that door of opportunity and seize the moment. Together we succeed is just a natural thing to say here in Arlington, because we've seen it time and time again. That's what works. But however, I can say there was some resistance there, because they said, we're business people, that you're including everyone in this. And I love it when Michael's, stepped forward and said, guys, we need our educational institutions to succeed. We need our individuals to succeed, our neighborhoods. Everybody will never be what we need to be, even in the business community, if we don't have our entire community working together to succeed. So there were some bumps, but there always are. And now I think that we see why it is important, and I love that evolution of our chamber to where it's not just about the business community, but it's about the business community taking a leadership role and making a difference throughout our community. I've been asked many times, what do I see for the future of the chamber, and what do I see for the future of our community? First of all, we are never going to run out of land. So we need to continue to demolish the junk and create land there, because there are so many great businesses that want to move here. Now, I'm not talking about getting rid of all the historical structures, but we got to continue to buy land and create opportunities there so that we can continue to grow. Because that drives me crazy for us to say we're landlocked. And if we do that, the opportunities are numerous. And then the entertainment district is just at the beginning. And I really believe that is going to be not just an entertainment district, and we see it already. People are living, working, and playing out there. And that can be our dense central business district. And think about what may come next to the Medal of Honor Museum. It may be another world-class museum. I can't believe we're not going to have veteran-owned businesses that come into town, world-class defense manufacturers that would want to be near that. And then also there's new attractions coming up all the time, new inventions, and certainly they're going to want to come into Arlington. And then what I hope I also see is that we protect the family entertainment that we have here and the family atmosphere, whatever that means, that we'll pay attention to that. And then also that we will be a city that continues to respect each other, to value each other, and to continue to plan and work together. And the chamber has assumed that role of leadership, and we need them to continue doing it. But really the thing that is most important that the chamber does is they foster relationships. And in an international city like Arlington, Texas, we have got to continue to work together, break down the barriers of different ethnicities, of different economic situations there, of even different opinions, and all work together. And if we do that, the sky's the limit for this city. We are in the heartland of America, as Major General Brady said when he announced that they were coming here to Arlington. And we are in a city that can make things happen because we believe in each other. When I first got involved in the chamber, I'll never forget David Sampson told me very clearly that he said, we need to bring in ideas from outside there, and that we have a great group of people, and he said, I need you to bring in, your design ideas and your creative ideas on other projects that you've worked on. And when I started attending the chamber meetings there were just incredible people that were in there, and I could go on from Bob Duncan to David Moritz to Jerry Jordan, Tom Cravens. They're just incredible titans there too. But also there were a lot of people there that were skeptical of the new young engineer coming into the chamber. They made you prove yourself, but after you did, They worked collaboratively, and that's the key, is that we got to give people a chance. We got to be forgiving. That's an important thing, but I love the fact that they did accept that young engineer some 30 years ago there to come into this chamber and allow me to grow and to work, and allow me for my business to grow. And then now I see it happen every day to where businesses are helping businesses. And one last illustration is that we were at a leadership conference at the Medal of Honor Museum with our chamber there. And one of the great business ladies in our chamber, Carmenza, that owns Chick-fil-A, she was talking about her challenges. And then Lowe's hotel manager talked about his challenges, and those two came together there to help each other. Two different, totally size of companies and what they're doing, and yet they were able to help each other. And oh my goodness, it was a beautiful thing, and that's what we got to continue to do, is to foster those relationships and be willing to help each other.